In the previous part, we see the two giant humans facing off. We then see Ben, who mistook the MC for a monster, asking him why he is helping the humans. But while being overpowered by the MC, he is asked if he is the one bothering the future gym bros. After being pinned to the ground, he tries to fight back by hitting the MC, but his hits didn't affect him at all. Since Ben had his turn, the MC wanted his turn too. Using Mountain Climber, he drags Ben across the floor of the forest. The female zombie, who notices that Ben is getting destroyed, transforms into a robotic spider thing, and together with the dog zombie, they started making their way to Ben's location to help, but are stopped by General Rion's niece Lin. Robotic Spider Lady ordered the dog zombie to go and help Ben, while she faces off against the general's niece, and after the dog zombie left, the two faced off. We then see Gulord and the Gudaboulders slingshotting a rock into the sky, and with his skill, Gulord caused the rock to break, which rained down on the zombies like a meteor shower. After shooting the rock at the zombies, he orders the Gudaboulders to reload the slingshot and gave out the orders that Group 1 should check if there are any zombies left in the village. Group 2 is to fix the cracks in the gate. Finally, Group 3 and 4 are to start fighting the zombies instead of pushing them with their chest muscles. Up on the castle wall, the feudal lord is amazed by Gulord's ability to strategize and compares him to a monster strategist who sided with the humans in the past. Back at the battle between the MC and Ben, we see that Ben is still being dragged on the floor. He tried attacking the MC, but none of his attacks were effective against the MC at all. At this point, I just feel bad for him. The dog, whose name is Birdomen, used the skill Bone Natto, which combined necromancy with its wind attribute, and it said that this skill can easily take the head of someone who isn't wearing a helmet. But to the MC, it felt like getting a massage. The doggo gets sad because its attack did nothing to the MC. But Ben thanks it, and while injecting himself even more, he tells the MC that what's about to happen next is his fault. The MC isn't worried though, because he believes that there is nothing that can escape his grip string. Ben pulls out his Uno reverse card and grabs the MC by the throat. Looking down at Ben's neck, the MC realizes that it has gotten so thick he couldn't grip it. Using this, Ben counters and sends the MC flying into the air. After the MC landed back on the ground, Ben, who is now bouncing around like a tennis ball, is disappointed because he wanted to use his form against the general, but had to use it against the MC. Even though it wasn't part of the plan, he gets cocky and brags about his speed in that form. Using his knowledge of muscles, the MC concluded that the best course of action is to endure the attacks until Ben runs out of energy or tires out. But the MC didn't take into account that Ben is using roids. Ben continues his attack pattern of hitting and running, but the MC was able to counter one of Ben's attacks by using bench pressing, and after Ben backs off, he starts wondering why it's taking Ben's muscles so long to get tired. We then see Leper and Hendard struggling against the giant gorilla-looking zombie, and after getting told he was weak, Leper tries to use the power of friendship. But the power of friendship failed him because as he used his skill, the zombie sent him flying. After seeing his friend getting slapped, Hendard charged at the zombie angrily and tried to strike it with his skill, but because he was too slow, the zombie was able to dodge, leaving the unconscious Leper to be the target of the skill. Using all his might, he was able to stop the skill from hitting Leper, but since he was distracted, the gorilla zombie used this moment to move in his blind spot, and as he was about to get hit, the MC came flying out of nowhere, saving him. After praising him, the MC went back to his fight with Ben. Man came out of nowhere, wrecked the zombie, and left like it was nothing. On the outskirts of Werdo Castle, a knight is hastily running and calling for General Rion. After the knight kicked down her door, the general asked if he was there to do nighttime activities with her, but he tells her that now isn't the time to be making jokes because Werdo Castle is being attacked by zombies. Someone help this general. She tells him that the army should be able to handle zombies. The knight then tells her they would be able to if the zombies weren't being led by Ben. After hearing that Ben is behind the zombies, she starts laughing, which confuses the knight, but she tells him that she feels bad for him because the castle is being protected by the MC and her niece, who is the future strongest person in the continent. We then see that in the past, during the Dark Ages, elves were treated as slaves because they were weak. But then one day a human physician named Cho Stockpol Lattes showed them a new path, and that General Rion's niece has spent some time in the forest with those elves and made the elf's latte exercise her own. Using this exercise, she dodges Spider Lady by jumping in the air, but Spider Lady used the fact that she couldn't dodge in air to try and attack her. Using smooth flow, she was able to stand on the tip of Spider Lady's blade and tells her that she is no match for her. Spider Lady didn't give up though. and she used her other blades to attack, but using circumduction the general's niece was easily able to block Spider Lady's attacks. She was having such an easy time blocking her attacks she started giving her tip to help improve her swordsmanship. This irritates her, so she launched herself at Lin, but using her skill powerhouse Lin was able to counter. Because of her multiple arms, Spider Lady became unbalanced, and Lin decided to end things and used her skill hyperextension. We then see the MC who is surprised that Ben still has energy, and Ben who is mad because he isn't able to overpower the MC. Getting frustrated, Ben asks him when he is going to give up, but the MC responds saying that he should be the one asking that question. While jumping around and hitting the MC, Ben explains that with his form he has the power of an elder dragon, and that form was meant to fight General Rion. The MC blocked his attack and tells him it doesn't matter because he exercises more than him. Ben, feeling the side effects from the roids, backs off to try and inject himself again. Seeing that Ben backed off, the MC was expecting him to change forms again, but as he was approaching him, Ben's body began to break down, and all the roid juice came spilling out of his body. It's been exposed, guys, it's not creatine. After losing his power, he begs the MC to stop the fighting, but the MC, who is mad because he couldn't get his lifts and wasn't going to let him go so easily, he continues begging, saying that he started the war to try and revive someone named Elise, who died in the past. He takes out his most powerful roid juice and injects himself, but as he was transforming, he sees Spider Lady's body parts flying in the air, and it turned out she was Elise, the person he was trying to revive. We then see a memory from the past of Werdo Castle 32 years ago. We see the feudal lord training and Ben reading a book. Ben asked him if he knows why the people of the castle have so little mana, but Lord Werdo doesn't seem to care. After feeling bad, he asked Ben to explain. Ben tells him that mana is something that is affected by emotions, but because of all the laws, the people of the castle can't express their emotions, and that's why the people have so little mana. Werdo then tells him that the castle doesn't need magic because they can grow their own strength through swordsmanship, and he threw a sword at him to request a duel. After a long battle, Lord Werdo came out as the winner with a record of 123 wins for him and 43 wins for Ben. We then see General Rion, who is concerned about Ben, so she asked him if something is wrong, because to her he doesn't seem to be enjoying swordsmanship, which he wasn't. But Rion tells him that he isn't enjoying it because he hasn't reached a certain level yet, and pointed to Werdo. But even though young feudal lord didn't say it out loud, he too wasn't enjoying swordsmanship training either. From a distance they hear someone insulting them, and after General Rion introduced Elise, the three started fighting, and Elise easily overpowered the two young men. After getting beaten up, the two of them fell in love with Elise, but since Ben was the first one to say it out loud, Werdo had to keep his emotions hidden. After hearing that his friend has the same love interest as him, Werdo tried to discourage him by saying Elise would only go for someone stronger than her. Damn El Homie. But Ben understands the fact that he is weaker than Elise, so he decides to train hard every day, and slowly he started catching up to Werdo in terms of wins, until finally he was one win ahead of Werdo. After getting defeated, Werdo left the training grounds for the day, and back at the castle we see that Werdo is being pressured by his dad, Leonard Werdo. After getting a drink thrown at him, he apologizes for being a weak son and went outside to sit in the rain. Elise finds him, and to be nice she took him on a date. But while on the date, Werdo thought that he might have a chance of bagging this baddie. The next day, while at the training ground, Werdo hears the trainees talking about Ben being rejected by Elise, so he decided to take this chance to confess his love. Didn't even check up on his friend. He made his way to her home, but while looking through the window he sees Ben and Elise doing nighttime activities in the morning, which is very naughty. We then see that the night before, after Ben had confessed his love and had been rejected, she showed him her magic body, which is the reason she rejected him, because if were to get caught one day she wouldn't want him involved. The man in love didn't care, and since he studied magic, he promised to protect her. After witnessing his friend and the girl he is in love with doing the deed, Werdo's life went on a downward spiral, but Ben and Elise seemed to be living happily and even got a dog. That is until one day she fell down due to the mana being too much for her body to handle, but she was fine shortly after, and even though she told him that she was fine, this gave Ben enough motivation to lock himself in his lab and try to find a cure for Elise. We then see a drunken Werdo approaching Elise and asking her if she likes him, but she tells him that she doesn't see him that way, and while showing him her mana she asked him if he could love her, even though if they were together he would be a criminal under his father's laws. The coward runs away, not being able to face her. The next day we see the citizens rioting about a drought, and to escape the citizens' rage, Werdo's father decided to put the blame on Elise and thanks him for telling him about Elise mana use. Werdo tried to protect Elise, but he is thrown in prison, and later that night he escapes prison to help but gets scared after hearing that the citizens would try to kill him if he tries helping Elise, so he runs away again. What a coward. Later Ben sees Elise's body, and after going on a rampage, he sits holding the dead Elise in his arms. In the present, the Ben is trying to retrieve the robotic Elise's body parts, but the MC wouldn't allow that. Using one-arm dumbbell press, he sends Ben flying. Ben tells him to let him go, but after pinning him to the ground, the MC used cable pushdowns until Ben was finished. But using Bonado, Doggo was able to rescue his family. We then see the feudal lord begging for them to be finished off, and General Rion's niece refused his request and started making her way towards him to kill him. After she got past multiple knights, she caught up to the running lord, but as she was about to strike him, the MC grabbed her by the foot, and using cable pullover, he was able to defeat the future #1 strongest. Later that day, Lynn woke up confused, but a boy at the side of her bed explained the situation to her, so she asked to be brought to the Lord's location, and when she arrived, she was surprised to see the Lord doing Santa Claus bear walks, as the MC called them. After hearing the feudal lord asking to be killed, the system granted him multiple skills. Since the Lord is asking to be killed, the MC took it that he was enjoying working out a lot, and his passive skill psychopathic trainer activated. The scared feudal lord turned to Lynn to end his suffering, but she seems to be enjoying the situation. Back at the castle, a meeting was being held, and a man with a mustache was explaining everything that had happened during the war. Because of their bravery, Laper and Hindered were promoted. The Builders were put in charge of the new bodybuilding sword troop, and he thanked the MC for helping them, but the MC got up and approached him, then destroyed the chair he was sitting on, telling him that it's all for extra personal training, and revealing that even the Builders are doing it too. Since he is doing personal training, he asked for the meeting to be summarized quickly, and the topic of what to do with General Rion's niece quickly came up. She was pardoned for her crimes, but lost her citizenship to Werdo Castle, and to repent the feudal lord begged her to take his life, but she was enjoy his pain way too much and refused. After refusing, he came clean about not being fit to rule and begged to be judged for his crimes, but the MC thought that meant he wanted to resign and focus more on working out, which made him very happy. The other members of the council thought this would be a good time for them to take over the country, but after the MC, who was so touched by the feudal lord that he volunteered his time to train the future lord of the castle, they were very happy to not be the feudal lord.